December 15th, 2016. Stanton Friedman. This guy right here, I believe he's the most rational, clear-minded UFO researcher I've ever read about. I think he approaches all this stuff with a clear mind, and anything he has to say is worth listening to. I'll go ahead and read 159, some ideas he has, and then I'll tie that into stellar metamorphosis. Page 159. Why would aliens come to Earth? In a paper I wrote 32 years ago, I listed 25 reasons for aliens to come to Earth, from the sublime to the ridiculous. After all, although we do know a lot about how governments behave, and sometimes even understand their motivations, we can only speculate about the motivations of aliens. We can get some clues from the myriad of activities reported in abduction books by Bud Hopkins, David Jacobs, Yvonne Smith, and Ray Fowler. Certainly as described in Captured, that's a book name, we can get a good glimpse, because of the extensive efforts of Dr. Benjamin Simon, to determine what was done to Betty and Barney Hill, and the behavior of those particular aliens. I have not spoken with any aliens, and might be wary of believing any clues they might give. I think aliens have many reasons to visit us, partly because I am convinced that there are many civilizations in the local neighborhood. The SETI specialists, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, as noted in Chapter 5, seem to think, with each passing year during which they, not surprisingly, don't pick up any radio or optical signals, that there's no one around in the local neighborhood. Dr. Seth Shostak, one of the loudest voices in the SETI cult, noted that distances between adjacent civilizations, even assuming there are lots of them out there, are measured in hundreds of light years. A truly extraordinary claim. In the first place, he has no data on any civilization out there. Not one. In the second place, there are roughly 2,000 stars within a mere 54 light years, roughly 16,000 within 100 light years of us, and 128,000 within 200 light years. The incredible and entirely baseless implication is that no civilization even as advanced as ours is within 200 light years. That means we are extraordinarily unique, despite our star, the sun, being run-of-the-mill, and besides there being about 50 sun-like stars in the local neighborhood within 54 light years. We have already, despite the primitive nature of our instrumentation, discovered about 290 exoplanets. Now this book was written, this book is called Flying Saucers in Science. It was written in 2008. It says here, 2008, and I'm pretty sure probably 2007, maybe early 2008 is when that number 290 exoplanets was the number. But as of today, December 15th, 2016, I just looked it up. There have been confirmed 3,549 exoplanets, and with the Kepler Space Telescope alone, there are 4,696 candidates. So we're cruising at around, what's that, a little over 8,000 objects to pay attention to. And that being said, when this theory comes to light and these scientists realize that stellar evolution is planet formation itself, that number obviously is going to go through the roof, because it's going to be obvious that there are literally hundreds of billions of planets. That's a lot. That's a lot of motherfuckers in outer space. Page 210. Well, let's not read that, not 210. Oh, this was kind of funny. It rung true with me when I deal with people online and other various individuals. Page 211. The title of this page, or at least the chapter, is UFOs and Public Opinion. So here we go. I have it highlighted for further reference. Some psychologists ought to do a PhD thesis on resistance to UFO reality by some professionals. Shermer, one of those skeptic guys who just, talk shit all the time and doesn't do any research. Shermer's explanation in why smart people believe weird things of why sensible people believe strange things certainly applies to those, such as himself, who claim that there is nothing to UFOs. On page 283 he writes, "Smart people believe weird things because they are skilled at defending beliefs they arrived at for non-smart reasons." He gives a second reason, which I find equally important for the well-educated debunkers on page 299. The confirmation bias, or the tendency to seek or interpret evidence favorable to already existing beliefs, and to ignore or reinterpret evidence unfavorable to already existing beliefs. This is a much more sophisticated way of giving one of my major rules for debunkers. Don't bother me with the facts. My mind is made up. Well then, if you learn that a lot of these academics and people who want to, talk shit about new ideas, they don't want to be bothered with any new facts. Their mind's already made up. They spent 8, 10, 12, 20 years in academia, 30 years, 40 years in academia, with ideas that they've already considered to be true, and to hell with anybody who brings up new information, because they're just going to reject it out of hand. They're not even going to pay you any mind. So keep that in mind. It isn't about how well the argument is formed. It isn't about how much evidence or facts you have. It isn't even about whether or not it makes them feel uncomfortable. It's just straight up confirmation bias. Whatever new information comes out there, they're just going to reject it. To hell with what you say. And keep that in mind, and make sure you kind of watch yourself from doing that. If there's something that does not conform to your own beliefs, try to be skeptical, genuinely skeptic, not pseudo skeptic like that Michael Shermer guy. All right, later, y'all.